Hello there, my very good friends, and a warm welcome and good afternoon to you. On this video, we're going to tell you about WWE's top stable splitting up.
We'll go through everything going on with the Street Profits in WWE.
I'll tell you why the Bloodline didn't headline Crown Jewel.
And MJF Scorches Bully Ray.
I'm Andy.
I'm Michael.
And this is the second news video of the day. Woohoo! Let's kick this one off. Said WWE's top best stable or whatever in the intro there. I guess some people would dispute that, but certainly WWE's most tenured and iconic stable. They're done soon. It's the New Day Chief. You might have seen this coming as part of storylines on TV. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. They've been teasing going their separate ways for a long time now, several months. And it looks like that's happening soon, according to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer. People are now expecting it to happen during the 10th anniversary, the New Day's 10th anniversary Raw. It's in a couple of weeks. Now, Dave writes as well that there's every possibility that WWE might just fool you and just not do it. A little tease and then pull it away. But the announcement of the special has certainly created the belief that they can't do it before then and stuff like that. So there's been a bunch of interesting theories that have come up about this storyline. Obviously, it was a storyline that involved Odyssey Jones for a brief period until some bad stuff came out about him and he got fired. It's chugged along nonetheless. To me, I think the most interesting fantasy booking idea is that this is it's not a conventional breakup in that they shoot off and that's them or whatever, they're done. To me, I think the most interesting version of this is still that they split, one of them turns, they bicker, they have a feud, they have a match at WrestleMania, and then Big E comes out and goes, "What are you doing? Numpties, we've been doing this for 10 years, we're friends, make up!" And then it's a big hug at the end and everyone's like, "Hey, listen, we brothers fight sometimes, so now we're back together." I don't know, maybe that'll happen. They're basically, on screen, they're basically family at this stage. They've been together for 10 years. It's a long ass time in this era of let's put a tag team together to split them up 6 months later. So I don't want them to split up. I like the New Day. They give me comfort. What's going on?
Yeah. No, I'm checking my heart. It's fully broken. This latest update in this story, it's been one of my favourite stories of the back half of WWE's year. It did, as you say, with Odyssey Jones and slightly before that with Final Testament, have the weirdest of starts. Karrion Kross doing some of his quite high-level conniption. But certainly as it kind of moved away from those sides and just got into the reality of their bond and their friendship, and as the 10 years approached, they've really hit on something here. And it shouldn't even really come as a shock. Yeah, the New Day, it's not just 10 years, it's not just a sort of a tag team survival story. It's this specific 10 years that you think about. They're magicians to have kept this act together 6 months, let alone 6 years in when Kofi Kingston becomes, just before that, just becomes WWE champion. Big E goes on to do it a couple of years after that. Xavier Woods kind of remains kind of the fulcrum with which New Day's creative has always kind of pivoted around. And he's had his own sort of single success in the process. Even when they split them across brands, it was very uniquely done in the fact that you were able to sort of tell a story that, Big E's going to go about his sort of own solo business, but the team don't need to turn on one another to go on Raw and SmackDown. That was kind of like the strength of the New Day that no other act has kind of been able to sustain. And I just think it's like a story that, to your point, could go so many different directions, and that's what makes it feel special. I am simultaneously dreading and can't wait for this New Day Raw special. It seems like it's going to fall either side of the Survivor Series. The actual anniversary, I think, lands on a Thursday, so it's either going to be the Monday before or the Monday after. Postman Pierce has already, told them that they're going to be getting this night. Big E's return, we love Big E, shout out to him as always, feels ambiguous on purpose at this point because he could never wrestle again, and that would be absolutely fine, but he could be hiding being a wrestler, that he could be putting the gear on at any given moment. And again, I would love this to end with them actually winning the tag belts or surviving this rocky period and it being a total subversion on how these things are normally done. And when you think the breakup is coming, no, we're stronger than ever, we're never going to break up. It's a bit like John Cena never turning heel. There are certain things that kind of can almost go against the grain and become stronger as a result. So I would love it to go that way. We will see if it makes it down this dangerous and brooding path between the two, but it's as captivating as it deserves to be, I would say, this one.
And you remember when they initially split a few years ago and they put Big E on Raw, and they looked really despondent in the ring when the draft pick was announced, and it later came out that they didn't want that to happen at all, and it was just kind of done over their heads and stuff, which, the creative person can do that, but like, why would you piss people off?
Yeah. That's how it would go all the time,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So like that to me suggests that they're keen for whatever's going to happen, because you can't imagine the current regime would go, no, screw you, very valuable wrestlers that bring a lot to the brand and have done for 10 plus years. They've been on such a journey as a stable as well, from their initial formation with Xavier pulling them together, and then they had the gospel vignettes.
Yeah.
And then they had the face run that didn't hit, and then they turned into this incredible like heel unit who thought they were baby faces. Like it was really like quite almost, it's not subtle really, but like clever presentation of a unit for a Vince McMahon creative.
Totally. Xavier Woods said he knew the turn would happen.
Yeah.
He kind of spied that babyface run had a very short shelf life, so they turned it up, and it was almost a way. They were like Vince whisperers. Vince McMahon was like, oh, "Brilliant, you're doing a perfect job as babyface." And those three are going, "We'll get there in the end, but we're gonna get this heel turn over the line by being as obnoxious as you think will make us good guys." Exactly. They were smart to that as well.
And then it kind of became so awesome that it's one of those things where it's like it's too good to be denied. So big New Day fans. I've never agreed with anyone who's ever said they got stale or anything like that. So I think it's going to make for some good television, whatever happens.
I think that Usos gauntlet forfeiture was an all-time bit of WWE pathos. Really nice. Like that, like it played on again what people love about this act, and I think that's what gets you to this 10th anniversary with such tension and drama. We will see how it goes. More tension and drama in the WWE tag ranks, because we've got an update from Fight for Select on everything potentially going on with the Street Profits right now. On SmackDown, it was confirmed that they will be getting a shot at the Motor City Machine Guns for the WWE Tag Team titles on next week's show. And Montez Ford got tongues wagging with quite a promo that he cut in the aftermath. It was a backstage thing with Byron and the Street Profits and B-Fab as well, where he kind of mentioned that next week it's, quote, championships or bust. There was a lot of allusions to like what had gone on in the last sort of 4 years. He talked about the drought without the titles. He didn't name Bobby Lashley, but he said we thought we were going in one direction and somebody else went and did something different, and we were kind of left to have to rebuild and pick up the pieces. You know, he's not wrong in that, even if you're just speaking it from a kayfabe point of view. There's been various tweets and things lately about unhappiness from both Ford and Dawkins and the like. And Fight for Select, as I say, came kind of with a bit of the reality behind the fiction to say that Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins have both stirred up discussion regarding some tweets, comments and interview answers that had indicated frustration. There were talent we spoke to who had said they had seen and heard the same, but weren't sure if it was part of a grander work. Fight for Select reached out about the duo's contract status and didn't get a contract answer on their future. There was no clear indication that the two had deals coming up or if they'd re-sign. They signed multi-year contracts back in 2019. Montez Ford had only said, quote, still thinking about it when asked about his future in wrestling, hadn't provided additional context beyond that. There was a conversation that was stirred up last week when we talked about how I think it was Ford had said, you know, it's our dream job, we're living our dream, but it doesn't mean that there aren't sort of difficulties along the way. WWE certainly leaning in with giving them the tag title shot next week. Asking, I guess, as a fan and an analyst, I wouldn't expect the Motor City Machine Guns to lose that match. So Ford being up front to say championship or bust suggests at a bare minimum a heel turn. You also have something brewing with DIY and Tommaso Ciampa's increased frustration that might be able to set up a program between the two. If absolutely nothing else, it is at least the ground stuff from WWE to kind of fold the creative into this kind of it's a unique sort of post kayfabe buzz that you get in 2024 around unhappy talents now.
Yeah. Or the whole thing could be manufactured.
Of course,
to generate. But that makes, well, I mean, if it is a work, right, if the whole thing, if Montez's interviews and the promos and Dawkins has tweeted some bits and pieces as well, if all of that is a work, I wonder what the payoff to it would be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, it's certainly got a lot of people fooled at the moment. A lot of people are considering the prospect of the Street Profits leaving and going somewhere else. And certainly their real life situation, like their booking situation, strengthens that because they have not been used particularly well over the past couple of years under Triple H. I think that Ford in particular, he's always somebody who a lot of people have pinpointed as a potential single star. which is often quite harsh on Dawkins because he's great. Like, he rules, and they're a fantastic tag
He
team.
seemed to level up when he was spotting the praise that Falls were getting as well, and it reached the point where they were both prospects in their own way. You know?
And I think they're a really complementary tag team because they both wrestle a very exciting style, but obviously Dawkins is more of a powerhouse, and Ford can do some flashy dives and stuff, and like they complement each other extremely well. They're good wrestlers, really good wrestlers. But yeah, they're guys whose talent is up here and the push has been about here for the past few years. I think that they would both have a good reason to go, I want to try something else. And it'd be cool if they did, because I think especially when someone is so synonymous with one promotion, we've only really seen these guys ever wrestle in WWE. It's cool when they go and do something else and try something else. Sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's the best thing ever. So who knows? I'm happy for them to just play a bigger role anywhere because I think they are great. And if this is a work, I look forward to finding out what the payoff is.
I think at a bare minimum, you sense a heel turn is coming. I wonder how well that heel turn will take, or if it's going to be one of them ones where what starts as a heel turn actually just generates more support. Because I think in reality, people have been rooting, and I speak on behalf of myself when I say people, have been rooting for the Street Profits to get more than what they've been given for several years now. Interesting. They built some intrigue.
Get it together, Fed. Let us know what you think in the comment section below as well. Right, up next, why didn't the Bloodline headline, Crown Jewel? Can I figure an ein in there? I don't think I can. Fightful. Going into this a little bit, a bunch of reasons why the Bloodline tag opened and did not close. The booking didn't call for it. Primarily because the match ended in a big angle, as these things often tend to do. WWE also wanted to make sure that the prestigious and noble Crown Jewel Championship was highlighted at the end of the show. They promoted it as like a major thing. They wanted it to close off, makes it feel like more of a major thing. You get it. So they felt that closing the show with Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes winning these belts, I guess one after the other, sort of. That was important to the relationship between them and Newcastle United Football Club. But yeah, there you go. And Sean Ross Sapp wrote, I'm not sure that closing the show with the 4,398th episode of The Bloodline does as much as it did for them. Yeah, so there you go. That answers the question. I think that even from a match standpoint, closing the show on the better match was more fun from my standpoint. The Bloodline match was more... I mean, a lot of these matches are more acclaimed for the angles. Which is fine, because it's a moments first booking system that WWE operate from. The goal isn't to have 3 5-star matches on the show. It's a completely different wrestling product. There you go. Like, it's easy to be cynical about the Crown Jewel titles, like, and you should be, because they're meaningless. Liv Morgan crying shoot tears was pretty funny. But yeah, there you go. That's fine.
I am very interested at the moment, and I love this about current WWE, that you can, as the PLEs come along, Bad Blood was another example about this as relates to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and Hell in a Cell. I love ahead of time. Even the idea that there can be sort of 2 or 3 contenders to the main event, and then the political battles that go on around that. Obviously, that one was the Cody and Roman tag team match that led to the return of The Rock at the very end of the PLE. Drew and Punk ended up going on first. I personally campaigned for that because I knew they would steal the show from underneath, but all the same. Similarly, when watching Crown Jewel, you realise that this was never necessarily going to be about the politics of the individual wrestlers. It was going to be about the politics of the show. Those belts were bigger than mine at Christmas. Like, it was the closing ceremony and the post-show where Cody and Liv went to the... I'm kind of with you about the sentiment around it. Maybe they saw that as like, I suppose if you're going to be really brutal, it's a bit of career validation for them two being chosen as the first, but nonetheless the belts and the rings and all that stuff looked ridiculous. But you could see why it was more ceremonial for that. Look, I thought that Bloodline match completely S'd the B, but the angle at the end was absolutely fantastic. Definitely end a SmackDown with it. They ended this week's with it, and it was tremendous. End a Bad Blood with it if you want to do that. But you could see what was the order of the day at Crown Jewel, and it was absolutely those ginormous belts. I would very much imagine, regardless of what the top story is next year, you will see it on next year's show too.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be back. Remember to Wake Mountain Trophy, the prestigious.
Remember it, mate. I've never been able to forget it.
Big shard of frozen.
It was my piss that froze there. You can have that one, Scoopsters. The dead man put in the call, and I was happy to answer.
The greatest Royal Rumble, bringing in the big man, Hiroki Sumi.
Yeah.
All the guys.
All
the legends.
I think Braun himself said he didn't know where that green strap went, did he?
Yeah.
He yanked out of his hand.
Like, what? Where's my belt?
Yeah. Speaking of big belts, Peter Griffin's got one, and so does the real life version, I guess. This picture did the rounds over the weekend. Just a nice and finally this, I guess. And MJF, being his ever devilish self, was able to take advantage of I guess a WWE Hall of Famer that's been in the news of late. The picture did the rounds of MJF meeting this Peter Griffin fan that he was on Collision, jaw-jacking with Jack Perry. They got a picture together. We'll get Ryan, our absolute legend of an editor, to throw the picture up now. And MJF captions it with, quote, "It was so cool meeting up with my old pal Bully at today's autograph signing. He waited so patiently for his turn." Bully Ray, of course, never makes his sort of opinions on AEW that much of a secret. When he does his podcast on Busted Open, he was working. He didn't main event in the end, of course, but he was working in one of the big angles on the ECW show that defeated Dynamite in the ratings and cost me a pasty with this man last week. But yeah, MJF getting in a good one there on,
it's
on
pretty
Bully
good.
Ray.
It's pretty good. It came on a weekend where Bully Ray had said something like, "Oh, nobody in today's wrestling can out-talk me." As well, which is, I've watched those old ECW shows, Bubba. All due respect, I'm a big Dudley Boys guy. I always have been, but come on, say some silly things sometimes.
Yeah, he sure does. He sure does.
I saw somebody tweet. I can't remember who it was. Was it Justin Wang? It might have been one of the big wrestling accounts or people who post about wrestling. If the end game for this is Peter Griffin versus Costco Dad AJ, and I am 100% here for that. Imagine the Rizzler landing an elbow drop on Peter Griffin.
Yeah, man. Like, if Bully's talking about forgetting the names of wrestlers that you've literally just seen on screen, then nobody can out-talk that man. Maybe only Dave LaGreca's got him licked on that one. If that's how we're ranking things these days.
Yeah, that's how we do it. But
it's funny stuff from MJF.
It is. I wonder.
Got him.
Bully, if Bully was a true worker, what he would now do is try and get a match with MJF.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a way for him to do that, maybe he's on a Legends deal, I don't know.
He's going to be calling your ass out of a WrestleMania weekend or something. Yeah.
It can go on the Full Gear undercard just beneath Costco AJ versus QC Marshall.
Yeah, I'd give that one a doom rather than a boom myself. Doom!
Just create the most bizarre pre-show ever.
We still need to go on lunch to get. I need one of them chicken bakes and cookies. We need to get you on. We need to saddle up. And,
the thing is, they don't do the double
double biscuit.
They don't do that. They don't do that here. But we could just get the big box that has 20 in it. Yeah. That's fine. Costco rules.
I will eat all 20.
Shopping in Costco as a couple is really difficult because it's like, yeah, I'd like that. I don't know if I want 50 of them. It's tricky.
Me versus the multi-pack.
But it's also wonderful value for money. Yeah. Chicken bake, pizza slice. Pizza slice is made by a robot. Unbelievable. Every time.
So much rum.
Better than I would of the big free pizza chains, Domino's, Papa's, and Pizza Hut.
Costco.
I would put it well above Papa's and Pizza Hut.
Interesting.
Well above. I put Domino's a bit above, but that's because Domino's to me doesn't really taste like pizza. It tastes like its own chemical concoction that I love.
I'm a Hutsman for that reason. I don't know what pizza is because it isn't pizza, but I love what it is.
Bread.
It's bread.
It's wet bread.
And in the buffet hours, there's absolutely loads of it. I'm a big ass quantity guy. And one of the few places in the UK that does the free refills. Yeah. We're behind you, America, on that one.
So you hit that buffet with a turkey. You just stick your head in and go.
Fully, man. Go get the pasta bit open, smash the face in, and then just dry it on the garlic.
Like the what's the gimmick from the Teletubbies with the nose?
Noonie.
Like that.
I could noonie that pizza. I'm absolutely starving. I got friggin' salad in it. This is a disaster.
See you later. Here's a video. Bye. That's too much.